Did you know that a well-crafted portfolio of evidence can be the key to acing your performance review and securing your next big promotion? Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and create one that stands out. Top of the morning, everyone. My name is Tshidi, and I'm back with a brand new video. In today's session, we're diving into the step-by-step guide on how to create the best portfolio of evidence for your performance review. Whether you're aiming for a promotion or salary increase or just showcase your achievements in the last couple of months, this guide will help you present your best accomplishments in the best way possible. Before we jump into that, let's first understand the reason why you need a portfolio of evidence. Are you doing it for an annual review? Or is this for a mid-year check-in? Or for a specific project assessment? Somebody's saying to you, we want to see how far you've done, and you want to be able to showcase your best foot forward? Knowing the purpose will help you tailor the content to meet the specific criteria of each one of those expectations. So once you know exactly why you're doing that, it helps you make everything easier. The first thing you do is to gather your evidence. Start by collecting all the relevant documents as well as data. So for example, the first thing that most people will collect is any quarterly reports, monthly reports, or any specific project report. So if there's any reports that you might have received, this is the time to actually start collecting those and putting them in one folder. Secondly, emails and letters. Any written communications that you might have had, any commendations, whether somebody sent you an email that says, listen, thank you so much for such an amazing piece of work, or anything positive that you might be getting from your colleagues or your clients, you also need to make sure that you put that aside. Performance matrices. Now, performance matrix is, key performance indicators, or what other people call KPIs. For sales figures, if you're on the sales space, project milestones, if you're on the project side, or any quantifiable achievements. If there's something that you can actually show people to say, I've achieved X, Y, Z, that's what we want you to start showing. Any training and certifications that you might have also had in the last couple of months, showcase those things. For example, any certificates, any workshops that you've attended, any training sessions that you've completed, make sure that you put that aside as well. Samples of work, actually examples of some of the work that you've done, any presentation that you might have done, also once again, take that and put that aside. If it's for quarterly, the information that you need is only for the quarter. If it's something that you need for the whole financial year review, then you actually start collecting everything from the beginning of the year up until towards the end of that particular year. Now, if you found these tips useful, please don't forget to like, to share, subscribe for more content designed to help you navigate your career path with the confidence and the skill that you need. Number 3, organize your content. The easiest way to actually organize this content is to make sure that it's easier to read and understand. The first thing that you'll also have to have is there's one document that you're actually going to explain what everything is, and you start off with the introduction, a brief overview of the portfolio and the purpose of why you've actually put it together. Secondly, a concise summary of your role, responsibilities, as well as your major achievements, like what have you done in the last couple of months that you think you've actually achieved in a summary format. Because what you want people to be able to do is to first see the introduction of why you did this portfolio of evidence. Secondly, you then need to make sure that once they understand why you did it, you also have a summary of what your roles and responsibilities were. Then thirdly, you actually jump into the detailed evidence section. So the detailed evidence section is where you speak about the achievements, the contributions that you've had, detailed descriptions of every key achievement that you might have had, skills and competencies, evidence of your skills supported by training certificates that you might have had. If you've done an Azure certification, make sure that you add that to the portfolio of evidence. Because what you want people to be able to do is not just only hear you talk about how amazing you've been, but also to showcase some of your evidence of some of the work that you've already done in that particular piece of work. The next thing still under that is to focus on feedback and testimonials. Positive feedback from peers, managers, and clients. Anything that comes up from those people, then you add into that. The easiest way to actually do this is to make sure that it's in a chronological order. So for example, feedback and testimonials. The oldest feedback will always come last. Most important feedback that was recent will come first. So make sure that you actually do it in a chronological order. Obviously, lastly, the conclusion. Summary of your overall performance as well as your future goals. What exactly do you want to make sure that you do and you'd like to achieve in the future? And then step number 4 is write a descriptive narrative. Simply just presenting document is not enough. And presenting documents, by that I mean just putting them all together into one document, then saying I'm going to send them to my manager, is definitely not enough. You need to be able to tell a story, accompany each piece of evidence with a descriptive narrative. So you need to make sure that if you put in the stats of whatever it is, you share a narrative or you explain to people exactly what that narrative is. You need to showcase what you've achieved and also make sure that there's an explanation of what that is. If there's an email, explain why that email came across. Like if there's something that you might have done, showcase that to make sure that everybody understands why you received those. Here's an example. In Q1, I led a project that resulted in 50% increase in sales. Attached is the sales report showing the impact of the new strategy that I implemented. So you're not just saying, here's my sales strategy, or here's something that says I've increased the sales. You need to make sure that you explain to people what you've attached. In most cases, some people don't have the context as to what you showcase in them. So sometimes it's important to make sure that you explain it. The second example that you could do is received a commendation from a client for exceptional customer service, detailed in the email attached. Once again, you explain to people what that is, and it gives people a bit of context. These narratives are very important because they help people understand why you're showing them that information. And then step number 5 is design for impact. Presentation matters. Use a clean, professional layout with consistent formatting, because if you have everything all over the place and nobody can actually follow what you're trying to say, it defeats the whole purpose of why you actually took time to present that. So it's important that you make sure that it's presentable, it's easier to read. Even if I'm not there to explain it to somebody else, they need to at least be able to look at it and understand step by step as to what I think I was trying to communicate. The best way that you actually can consider doing this is by focusing on headings and subheadings. Break down the sections and make sure that it's clear. Use bullet points for listing any key achievements and skills that you might have had. Graphs and charts if you want to visualize or present data about your performances and your matrices. Any past feedback that you might have received that you felt was very important for this next session, I'd suggest that you actually share that as well. Professional font and colors. Please don't go there and create Christmas tree for a portfolio of evidence. This is one of the most important ones, is to review and update regularly. If, for example, let's say you know there's going to be a performance review in December, start putting your portfolio of evidence right now and make sure that every time there's something that happens, you create a folder that you add into that so that you keep on updating your portfolio of evidence. Your portfolio of evidence should be a living document, which basically means regular updates. Make sure that there's new achievements that you've got, new skills that you've got, certifications that you might have had. And this will not only keep things current, but also make sure that it keeps everything easier to manage and to showcase what you've performed. So there you have it, a comprehensive step-by-step guide into creating a portfolio of evidence for your performance reviews. Remember, the goal is to clearly and effectively showcase your contributions and achievements to that company. Top of the morning once again, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.